What's going on, Freight Broker crew? In this video, we are going to talk about freight broker bonding. Now, there's actually a few bonds besides the freight broker bond that govern the way that we transact business in freight brokering, but for this video, what we are going to talk about is the main bond that you need to have in place if you are moving freight for your customers. And this is the BMC-84 bond. So let's get right into what that is, what's the purpose of this bond, how does it protect us or our carriers, and how do we go about getting one. Now, before we get in there, make sure you hit that like button, follow this channel so that you don't miss any of the exciting freight broker news and updates that I have coming throughout the year. Now, the BMC-84 bond is probably one of the first things that you came across when you started researching becoming a freight broker. It's pretty simple what this is. This is a piece of collateral, right, in the amount of $75,000 that you essentially post to the FMCSA to prove that you are financially stable enough to conduct business as a freight broker. Now, back actually when I started, 10-15 years ago, the amount of this bond was only about $25,000. But what I think happened, at least, is that the $25,000 wasn't enough to keep bad actors out of the business, right? Because what we're going to get to in a second is what that purpose of that bond is. It's for protection. But the $25,000 amount was just a little bit too low, and it wasn't keeping out scammers from coming into the industry. Right, so what they had to do was they had to bump that thing up to $75,000, and of course now there are still ways to get around this, and there are ways that makes it affordable for just about anybody to start. But that is what I see as being the primary reason for the increase. The increase was put in place to weed out some of the scammers and to also protect our carriers more. Now, the purpose of this BMC-84 bond is not so much to protect you as a broker. As a matter of fact, it's to protect your carriers. Because what this bond does is not only does it show carriers that you are financially stable enough to pay out on claims, things like that, to the carrier, but it allows the carriers to collect on unpaid charges if a broker is to wrong them. I'll give you an example. Say that you contract with a carrier to move a load for $1,800, and through the course of the load you have some disagreements, and for whatever reason you decide that it is your right, or you think that the right choice is to not pay the carrier this money that you contracted with them. And now you may not be very good or very knowledgeable about the law, and you just said, you know what, I'm just not going to pay this carrier, good luck getting the money from me. What this carrier can do, as long as you are a licensed freight broker and you have this bond posted with the government, is they can go directly to your bond underwriter, and they could say, hey, so-and-so logistics, I did a load for them for $1,800, I have all the signed paperwork, I have the proof of delivery, they didn't pay me on my load. So what will happen at that time is an investigator will be assigned to the case. The investigator will question both you and the carrier. They'll collect all of the details and facts about the case. And as long as it is something with a clear legal answer, they will rule in favor of the carrier and pay them out of your bond. So that means that your bond, which was $75,000, is now the difference between $75,000 and $1,800, and now you have to repost that amount in order to continue transacting business as a broker. So the primary reason why these bonds are in place are for carriers to protect themselves. There are plenty of times, plenty of reasons why shippers will try to hold money for shipments so that they don't lose money, and there's plenty of times that brokers will try to hold back money to carriers. And I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. It's very rare that that ever happens with an ethical broker. They're usually never shorting their carriers, but it does happen in the industry, and this bond is just an extra layer of protection that carriers have so that they can ensure that they're getting paid for the work that they deserve to be paid for. So if you are trying to get a bond, it's actually pretty easy to come across one. Nowadays, they actually make it very accessible for just about anybody to get a bond, and of course the price you pay is going to be based off your credit score, but you can find any of the leading providers anywhere on the internet and you can pay anywhere between $900 a year to $1,400 a year, and maybe up above $1,500 to $1,800 if your credit isn't that stellar. But it is still possible for you to post this bond, even if you don't have $75,000 sitting in the bank that you can just hand over and post, right? So if you don't have a bond right now, my suggestion, I don't have any ties to any bond companies. I would just go straight to Google, try to find some bond providers, ask them for information, and make sure you shop that rate. That's the number one thing I could tell you. Just the same way I would tell you to shop anything. You'll never know the best price you're gonna get unless you ask for it. So definitely ask around, try to find that best yearly rate, pay that, get your bond posted so that you can start running freight legally. Now I hope this helps answer the question of what a BMC-84 bond is. Remember, you cannot legally move freight as a freight broker without posting this bond. And like we said, the reason for this bond is to protect carriers from bad actors in the freight broker industry. Just like any industry, there are people doing bad things. There are people that are scamming carriers, there's people that are scamming shippers, there's people that are scamming brokers, right? So this is an extra layer of protection to help those carriers out. I think it's great, the laws that we have in place, the bond specifically, that is there to help these carriers, because it really is harmful for them when they move a load, when they fronted money for gasoline, wear and tear on their truck, maintenance, all that stuff, and then a broker or a shipper just says that they're not going to pay them. That's just not right, and this bond is a way to make sure that doesn't happen. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like always, make sure you like and follow this channel, and before you go, as always, I want to invite you to personally join my free group. It's called the Freight Broker Network. It is linked down in the comments below. Just click that link, invite yourself in, and I'll make sure to let you into the group so that we can talk about rates, shippers, carriers, and all that great stuff that comes with freight brokering every single day. All right, until the next video, I'll see you soon.